we'll just go in game. Yeah, I definitely I changed it. I must have saved Spirit and Skillers twice instead of Reynor versus Harstem. Oh well, that's a mild error that we'll sort out later. For now, let's get into it. In the top left-hand side, red Zerg player is Reynor.
And spawning over in the bottom left as our blue toss for the Shopify Rebellion, it is Harstem.
Yeah, I prep all of the graphics like at the start of the day, right? So like I just have them numbered, so like I delete one, I make the new one the live one. And I definitely did it because I stood up and walked away, so I did it before I left. and then it was still said Spirit versus Skiller, so it's just gone, man. The Reynor Harstem graphic never existed.
Yeah, this is definitely a match that I've been looking forward to, and playing on Amphion as well. This is cool. Like, it's the first time we've seen it today, or over the last couple of days that I've been casting with you. So I'm very curious how this one's going to go, because PvZ, it has had its kind of like zooms and grooves where it's like, okay, we went through a phase of Sky Toss a long time ago when it was like Jagannatha and whatnot, but now there's quite a few avenues for pros to go down. Obviously, they love the Stargate openings and whatnot, but this is a very funky map, so I'm curious how they're both going to expand and take this unit-wise.
Yeah, well, I think what's kind of cool on this map is that PvZ was really good on this map in TLMC. There was loads of there was just loads of like really cool games, lots of Stargatey things, like lots of Air Protoss. There was just really cool games. It just works out really well because the layout of the bases just isn't super punishable on either side in PvZ. So you can just play kind of very interesting long games because the map in itself is like a cool shape and a cool format. It's just tough to make it work so much in TVP and so on. But PvZ, it doesn't feel like anyone can really, yeah. I feel like PvZ, no one can really punish the other guy super hard. So it makes for a fun map because it is different. And everyone gets a chance to play the game, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, this matchup in particular between these two, so obviously Reynor is playing from Korea or China, wherever he is at the moment, so we'll obviously be playing with some delay. But this, for me, is one of those where it's like, I remember seeing Harstem beat Reynor in some pretty big, like, best of 5, best of 3 situations, but I just looked at the recent results between them, and it's still very massively Reynor favored. And a lot of people have been like, oh, Harstem's definitely the favorite here, given the recent history. And I'm like, that is just because of how our brains work. Like, we're so easily swayed by having a big upset in our mind be how it's been for a long time. But obviously, Harstem is a guy that can take out Reynor. And also with the ping advantage, he can. But you can never sleep on Reynor. Like, yes, he's had a few bad results, or at least bad for him results. Like the whole Atlanta situation, he was sick. The Katowice situation, kind of maybe a little bit burnt out, so to speak. But whatever he's been doing recently, I do feel that Reynor's spent a lot of time taking it very serious. And we all know that he is a guy that can peak when he wants to. But it's getting to the point where he has to start making it happen, right? Because he's absolutely a player that you see him in a tournament, a major tournament with all the top players. He's a top 4 contender every time, but he hasn't looked like it as of late on the lands. But this is time to start stepping it up again for him, I feel.
Yeah, I think I mean, he's obviously out in Korea, right, as well, so it's like, it's time to commit. Like, you know, it's time to show it again, right, to kind of pop off. I mean, obviously he won Game as 8 last year, so it's not been that long, but I think this is his time where he really believes in himself to kind of get as good as he possibly can once again, so, yeah.
It's one of those, like, Game as 8, like, he legit looked the best, didn't he? Like, nobody was touching him that tournament, so the fact that you know he can look that good. And right now, these Lings, these are getting quite a bit of damage done. Probably a lot more than Harstem was thinking. The 2 Oracles are recalled back home to try and help deal with this, actually. So Harstem's taking this very seriously, and Reynor, I don't know if this was his plan from the get-go, but after dealing this much damage and maybe causing this much mayhem on the other side of the map, Nidus on the go here, Wardy. And I mean, it was a very quick lair timing from him.
Yeah, Nidus comes up immediately, so gonna be just kind of sending it. Just wants to be aggressive. I mean, you gotta remember he's playing with ping, right? So he might just be the more aggressive player in this series. He might just want to send it, do things which do not require as heavy a set of micros, such as longer games, any sort of late game stuff. So yeah, Nidus in it right now and looking to get lucky, as obviously if he gets it off that left-hand side, you can basically Nidus straight into the natural. Harstem just does not have vision there. The Oracles are not going to find out about this. They don't even have much energy. This feels horrible for Harstem. He has absolutely no way to defend this right now. Lings are going to stream in. He's got one Stalker, no Blink. Yeah, this is bad.
It's really bad. And hearing that noise, you know, that's where you take a big gulp, a big swallow, and you're like, oh my goodness, the one spot, new maps, not had this truly done to me yet. He's going to get... Oh, he can actually get in with those Lings as well. He kind of hesitated for a moment there. He's in. The creep isn't on these queens, so he can't transfuse to keep them alive. Nice body blocking here, but those probes are falling, and the amount of firepower that Harstem has available is severely limited. I think this is down and out for Harstem here. He was caught with his pants down pretty damn massively. Gonna try and keep that shield battery alive with a force field, but the Queen DPS is there. More Lings streaming in. Harstem was very greedy this game, and none of it paid off.
But he is now starting to hold, and if he holds at any point, his work count is still okay here. There are Lings up in his main base. He might be losing production, which will obviously be pretty disastrous for him. Yeah, okay. That's obviously not great. The army supply started to look okay, and then I was like, okay, well, with Blink done as well, maybe there's something more of an opportunity, but it's not there at all. For half a moment, I believed, but yeah, the production being shut down in the main base and obviously just having too many queens on the low ground just kind of kills you, so never mind my hope. Just trying to have some hope for a friend, but yeah, wasn't meant to be. Yeah, I've got no idea.
I mean, that was a really nice attack, and I don't know if it was pre-planned necessarily. Like, these two have definitely duked it out a little bit, but I tell you what, that was a nice one, man. Nice execution out of Reynor, and obviously on a new map, utilizing it like that, just smart play.
Yeah, no, good to see. And it was the perfect position. Like, Harstem just had no vision there to preemptively stop the Nidus or anything like that as well. So yeah, I'm just getting the thingy up, the graphic. Sorry. Fixed.
I wondered why you were oddly silent. You know, I can't see you during these
I know.
moments. So
I was like trying, because like I said, usually I prep these at the start of the day. So now because it's just disappeared or whatever, I had to actually go and like select the races and type the names in and type something out. So yeah, just took a moment.
Oh, the difficult life.
It's
the
tough,
difficult
man.
life of Wardy. Oh.
Yeah. It's actually not that tough this season. Turns out observing really was the worst part of doing the production job. Just changing the scenes ain't so bad.
Yeah, when I've seen Harstem go up against people that he tends to be not the favorite against, like, I've seen this so much against Showtime, he'll be the guy, and I think this is actually very smart of him to do. He'll be very, very greedy. Like, he'll take big risks where it's like, he gets away with it, he'll be ahead. But if he doesn't, like, he'll get punished. But why would a quote-unquote better player be the punishing guy? You know what I mean? Because then they're risking it by doing something like that. I think it's a smart way for him to play. But this game, he obviously did get massively punished by Reynor, and I think that was a good gear shift by him to do something like that, especially on a new map.
Yep. I think it's a cool time to do it. Like you say, just kind of take advantage of the fact of the idea. The last few times these guys have played, they've played pretty straight-up games, and Harstem really just fell into that trap completely. Reynor top left, Harstem bottom right. And game number 2 of this best of 3. Mappa had Mappa gets like 36 seconds. He's like, nope, that's it. No longer waiting for the intros.
Alrighty. So we've got Harstem again with the probe early on, getting the nice block action going. Reynor is a guy that's mixed up his drone timings within regards to how he does take his natural, be it like, you know, you go for that 14 extractor trick out of 15, get the hatchery nice and early, and Proros's early probe feels like, damn, I made this journey early for nothing. But still, it kind of puts the... it's a little cost for the Zerg player. Oh, God, I'm getting all scrambled over here, Waddy. But yeah, this game, not going to go for it. Just going to go for the nice, safe third over there. And behind it, Harstem, he's a guy that tends to follow very similar builds in a series, so I'm expecting like a Stargate, but maybe not being so crazy with just 2 oracles on the aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, I mean, he just needed a bit more information at the end of the day, right? And those oracles kind of just got stuck on the map as well, not even like looking around the base of Reynor. They were like stuck, like seeing the lings constantly being out the front, so they kind of stuck with them. So he just never really got that scout either. So definitely adjustments that can be made going into this game number 2. Honestly, like, I mean, Harstem has lost to Reynor the last few times they played at ESL Open Coast, but he was giving him such a good run for his money. I mean, playoffs of this event last season, of the regionals last season, was an amazing Harstem-Reynor series. Harstem beat Reynor in Atlanta, which was obviously, and Reynor was feeling a bit sick and so on as well, but, you know, Harstem has been playing well. You know, he has been looking good in PvZ, so it's not an unwinnable match. It's kind of a shame to see the first game goes down so quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And was it the Star Wars qualifier as well recently, or was it not that match that they played?
I can't remember.
I'm feeling like it was something quite.
I might not have seen that
maybe,
one.
Maybe that was Showtime actually. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think
I
Harstem
just remember.
was in it.
No, I seem to remember a Protoss definitely doing it, but I think it was Showtime actually. Now looking back,
makes sense.
Harstem will get nice scout off with this adept. Might get some damage done early on. Nice drone micro so far out of Reynor. Couple of drones are close to dying. Reynor's usually very quick about the spore. That might be the ping going against him here. Still though, manages to keep one alive over there. Not bad, not bad.
Not bad at all. Well, Oracle is continuing up on the side of Harstem, so he brings that through. Chrono boosts it along. Link speed is going to finish shortly. Evolution chamber and additional drones all building from Reynor. I mean, we'll see what he gets off the Evo chamber, but otherwise, we're in for a pretty standard setup here so far. Obviously, Reynor not layering it up super quickly or anything with that Evo chamber on the way. I very much so do see him looking for a more standard game.
Yeah, the Evo chamber is at the back though. It's, you know, sometimes you find Zergs getting ready to wall off with it, and I mean that's an incredibly quick plus melee, like incredibly quick. I dare say he might be looking for some shenanigans here to really hammer on down on that third again. Because if there's any
Ling Bane Queen all in.
Could be. You can never count everything out, man. Like, especially if you're playing, like, you got to remember, like, Reynor's mindset right now. Harstem is a guy that's very comfortable playing these longer games where it gets a bit finessey and it's like storm here, pullback here, like makes it really hard for you. So if you're playing with delay against that, that's not a situation you're like, oh yeah, I'd love that with delay, playing your comfort zone. I'll play a bit more my comfort zone and I'll make you have to react as opposed to guide me through the game. But we'll see. 3 oracles are on the map this time. It's going to be a bunch of adepts. There aren't that many lings out on the map just yet to deal with this, but there is a lot of queens and they're seemingly always in the right position here. So it's nice defense out of him so far, and more lings will be getting made.
Yep, a lot more lings on the way up. Couple queens, the melee upgrade continue to come through. The adepts going to go shading through the third to the natural. The adepts will go and pick off this queen in a moment as well. No, we decided to recall, which is fine, but then one of the oracles got caught in that recall. I'm not sure if that was intentional. It will activate, it will help to push back, so I guess it wasn't so bad in the end.
I tell you what, Wardy, that's a lot of lings in production. That +1 melee coming online very soon.
And no lair, right? So this is absolutely going to be a Ling Ping Queen all in.
Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot out of Reynor, just because it's always good if you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable to do something that your opponent is way not prepared for. And Harstem, again, he's a greedy boy. He is a greedy boy. And he is getting caught again. Totally off guard here. Yep. Totally off guard.
This is terrible. This is really bad. He just lost a ton of units before anything even happens. Now an Oracle goes down as well. This is the kind of series that Harstem, I can see him in my mind, right? Shaking his head like, oh, this just was not it. This was not it at all. I mean, this is going to be a less than 15 minutes in-game series, which is just brutal because, again, Harstem's been playing well lately. But holding this seems very tough because he's already just taken so much damage. Now, that's a good force field that helps, but then the force field does give way. We do actually have the Bane's going to have to try and struggle to get through once again. Looks as though they're going to stay on the top side. Super Battery will buy some time, and the Oracles will activate. So Reynor has not broken through just yet to Harstem. making something of this, getting close to finishing up that blink, which is obviously extremely useful as well. These Banes do sneak through one or two of them. Not many, though. Oh, my goodness. This is wild. All the Banes are going to go down. And now we're going to have blink available. I think Harstem might have just found himself the defense, but it will be with a dead third base.
It will. I mean, he's ahead in supply, and he didn't stop probing throughout all this. So that's a lot of probes that he has. I mean, now, these Stalkers, remember, like, they do have blink available, but these Lings with +1 are absolutely shredding through them. He's keeping a lot of his probes alive, which is great. And I mean, these Queens, I think this is a one-way ticket, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't see them getting back anytime soon. And Harstem, he's survived. He's survived, but he's going to be very grossly oversaturated on just the basis that he has. Was that another Oracle just died there?
Yeah, I think that was all of them, right? So, okay, there's one still alive, super low HP, but yeah, one of them went down and fought the Queens. And now the Queens do get cleaned out. Reynor supply is not looking pretty on the end of this. Man, honestly, kind of good defense because it was the force field that really bought time. I think Reynor should have swung the Banes around the left-hand side much more quickly. Because if you do that straight away, you at least force another force field there. And then when the force fields expire on the top, the Banes actually can get in over there, right? I think that would have made the big difference. But instead, the Banes just kind of derped around. And eventually, all they really blew up on was kind of the Nexus, which is obviously a waste for the Banelings.
Certainly was. And Reynor finally hits Lair. But I like what Harstem's doing here. He's getting charge online, getting +2 very quickly himself. He's also got quite a quick Templar Archives here. And if there is one bane of Zerglings, it is highly upgraded Archons. And that will absolutely add some backbone to this mix of his. And Reynor, this is problematic. Like, he's going to go for Hydras, which I think is also a good choice, because Archons don't really like playing against Hydras, so they're both making the right stuff here. But he's got himself into a lot of trouble here, and these are the kind of engagements on the map that he doesn't want with these Zerglings.
Nope. I mean, right now, Reynor's in trouble. The fact that Harstem lives is just terrible for him in general, because look at the tech.
Oy.
Charge finishes, Archons up, +2 coming through, Prism on the way. We are going to push, and it's going to be deadly, man.
It really is, and it's nice getting a little wraparound on quite a few of these Zealots, actually, and Harstem a tiny bit indecisive on what he truly wants to do. Finds another Archon, but doesn't want to go for it. He's slowing down this push a lot. Like, he's working with what he's got, but we've also got to remember, like, he lost a good 6, 7, 8 Queens on that front there, so it's not as if he has, like, a line of Queens with full transfuse energy to work with. That's a lot of Protoss.
It is a lot of Protoss. I mean, honestly, as soon as Harstem gets here with a few more reinforcements, I think he should just send it. He's going to stop and build Storm and +3, though, so he's actually happy to play the longer game. He feels as though attacking in might be one of the ways he loses this.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that he's committed to the 4th. I think Reynor, for all intents and purposes, that was the moment where it was like, he's in trouble.
Yeah.
If he can somehow stabilize, I mean, everything else looks awful for Reynor. Like, Creepsbird's just not there, and this army comp as well, like Storm getting online, it's really good against all this, but that was the moment for Harstem to really close this one out, and the fact that he's slowing it down a little bit to get to that place where he likes to be, even though it makes sense in his mind to do this, I don't think he realizes how weak Reynor really was.
No, I don't think he did. I mean, I think he's just a little afraid of being on creep to fight, right? Because he's aware that Reynor can make, a magic happen. And I think he's just very confident in playing from a lead, which maybe just says something about his kind of confidence in his game as well. Where he says, well, if I get Storm, and if I get a 4th, like, what do you actually do against me? Because you can't kill me getting there. And if you can't kill me while I get there, I'm very happy to play from there. Later, a later game, you're playing with ping. Obviously, Reynor doesn't want to play the super late game. That's why he's setting up to go right now. These High Templars are looking for the Storm up the ramp. Couldn't really get in range, so it hits, but doesn't hit as well as it could have initially done. Good split from Reynor. The Storm so far being minimized, and that gives Reynor a bit of hope with this attack, which has to do a lot of work because he cut drones once again. This is do or die for Reynor in Game 2.
It really is, but this wraparound, I mean, the stasis initially, it's not that good. The shield battery overcharge back there is huge, though. I mean, Storms are landing. There's a lot of bailing detonations, but Reynor's army's just way too small. Harstem ties up the series.
Yes, he does. I mean, I like the idea from Reynor. He doesn't want to play a long game, so he just says, okay, I will give it a go. I will cut, I'll cut units, I'll cut drones. I will just send this I think that's why Harstem was a bit afraid of attacking as well, because if Reynor was deciding to do that a little earlier already, and then you attack into him, you're kind of giving Reynor potentially the best chance he can have. Whereas by just stopping and building up, you know what I mean? Like, if you just stop and actually build up like he did, Reynor's then either forced to play a long game on the ping, or a quick game attacking into a Harstem who teched up in a way to defend that. So, I think that was probably the logic at the very end there. As, we get ready to go into game number 3. We're going to go to the decider map here between Harstem and Reynor.
Alcyone. I tell you what, that's a cool map. I always feel that this is, maybe it's not more of a Zerg map, but that gold being having more potential for Zerg earlier on always feels quite nice. Then it really puts a bit of a clock on Protoss. If they're playing the Stargate style, they really have to get in there and kind of work on it. But yeah, so far I like what both these players are showcasing.
Yep, I like it as well. I mean, I think Reynor is very much so decidedly playing based on, again, ping, but I get excited for this game number 3, see what is going to happen.
Players are both ready, and remember, this is being played on Europe right now, so big advantage ping-wise for Harstem. But Reynor, like most of the moves that he's making here, doesn't. It looks like he's playing still damn good, just very aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for that as well. Like, I think it just makes sense, and he is capable of kind of setting up these attacks and knowing the game states to kind of set up these attacks properly, right? So, makes a lot of sense as we get ready to go into game number 3. Set up the scoreboard, take us in.
And spawning over in the bottom left, representing Basilisk, it is Reynor.
He had some sick splits, by the way, against those storms. Like, he really made it, like, closer than it should have been, because with the amount of storms Harstem had, that army should have melted. Great splits. Top right, from the Shopify Rebellion, it is Harstem.
And these all are like the preemptive splits that he has to do right now.
Yeah.
Pretty massively, eh? So, yeah, quite tricky indeed. And he's oh. Bly, is that you? I mean, we saw this from Bly yesterday, where he took that as his first base, but Reynor over here doing something like this? I like it. Harstem this series went with a very quick probe scout every time, but this game, not at all, in fact. Maybe the one game that it would have been really good.
Maybe the one game it would have been good. Yeah, no, he's going to be holding back as that gas finishes up, and so we'll get that mining away straight away here. Gateway coming down to follow, and again, just going to go down and pop the next in as the 400 minerals are available.
And now, Cybercore, do you reckon he's going to probe scout after this one as well?
Yeah. He will indeed.
Alrighty.
I mean, this is not a bad scout timing because you're still going to confirm where the hatchery is and everything, so there's definitely some benefit to that. So that ain't bad at all. And, yeah, he's just going to take the watchtower, and he should be able to check the gold pretty quickly here.
Yes, and he's actually going there first, which I think is smart by him. So now he absolutely knows what he's up against here. Like, I was kind of questioning if he's going to get to see the drone run by, but he gets to see it in a different way. He gets to see them when they first turn up over here. So Reynor is going to eke out quite an eco lead. Harstem doesn't quite have the gas lined up for a Stargate this game. Like, he's getting that warp gate nice and early. Quite often players will show that, cancel it, get the Stargate down. Twilight Council, totally different game out of him as well.
Yep, Twilight Council. I mean, I think as soon as you see the gold base, right, just kind of tells you that going for the Twilight is kind of a good choice, right, because it gives you the ability. And,
yeah.
I mean, it obviously just allows you to be very aggressive on the map. It gives you a lot of positioning that you can do. And obviously you can really kind of try and punish the fact that that gold is far away from everything else. So I like it. I think it's a smart choice. I think it makes sense based on what we're seeing. It is a very common way to go about it. You don't even have to be like super aggressive with glaives, right? You can just kind of, you know, put a bit of pressure on and macro behind it. It doesn't have to be full commitment or anything. So yeah, we'll see what Harstem wants to do.
He's going to be super aggressive though. Like
yeah,
3 extra gates on the way. Like this is Harstem saying to himself, "All right, I don't like you having that gold. That is not it." He's got 2 guys in each assimilator here as well, which is pretty damn perfect for constant adept production upon those 3 extra gates finishing. And there's no robo either. Like I think this probe that's just left this base here, actually, oi, this feels Zest-esque to me, man. Where he'd showcase a 3rd and be like, I kind of want you to know about this, but how much am I really going to bank in on it? It's almost like a nice warping point for me.
Yeah, no, it's one of those. It's also this kind of like, it's a nexus, but it's not really a nexus right now. Like it's more of a backup nexus. So you can see it, you can believe I might probe it, but the reality is I'm not going to do too much of that. I'm going to fall back to it later as the adepts do continue to gather up. And one more warp, and we probably send it across the map and go and see what we can do. Roach Roar starting. It was melee upgrade to start though from Reynor, so any roaches he has to build here were not really initially part of his plan. As 18 lings do start up, so he's going to have a very good ling count.
Really healthy ling count. And droning, he stopped at 34. And while taking the gold, that's pretty damn solid. It is a lot of adepts, but yeah, the number of lings that he's going to get to buy time here and just hopefully deal with this nice and early, softening up quite a couple of these adepts. But so far, I think the attack's been okay for Harstem, given that he hasn't really lost anything. But seeing that number of lings and the other adepts weren't joined up here, that's not quite what you're after.
It's not really. I mean, they shade across into the natural, but there's no drones here now. Roaches on the way. Reynor might just go pure units from here on out as well, right? And just sort of send it. We saw a lot of like roach aggression against adept openers yesterday. If Reynor feels comfortable with the roaches he's getting, he could just, go across the map. +1 melee there as well, so his lings are also great on the reinforcement waves. He just killed these adepts, so even more of a reason, I think, to just send it across the map right now. Harstem's robo is nowhere near being done, so he is a mile away from having the potential to make immortals.
I would not be surprised if these 2 extra gases are not to tech up or anything, just to get Ravagers out. Like there's a lot there's a lot lying on this. Like Reynor's economy didn't take that much of a hit, but adepts, their timing window is kind of gone. He has to be careful with what he actually attacks with here. He's into the natural with just a handful of lings, but that's enough to get some chaos starting. And honestly, he's got the time behind this to start pumping out that gas as well for Ravagers, and that's exactly what he starts doing. And remember, he's got 3 hatcheries to work with here, 4 queens. He can get out a lot of units very, very sharpish.
Yes, he can. I mean, just again, being as annoying as possible with these lings. Any distraction right now is good because this large attack at the front is pretty much setting to go. So, a couple more Ravagers morph in. It's purely lings. Reynor added a couple of drones on the back of that adept attack, but really not many. It's all been about setting up for this moment right now. And Harstem, can he find a defense? Batteries, obviously, you've got to pick your overcharge very carefully here. The Immortal gets caught up, by the way, on the left side. The Lings are going to keep that busy and keep it away from the fight. So the Roaches are not going to have a, an Immortal on them for a very long time. As the Adepts extra do warp in, the Roach Ravager puts some damage out. Harstem's army supply is what struggles here. 20 to the 50. And it's one Immortal still alive on the left. The probes will pull into fight. He can afford to lose some probes, but he needs an army left at the end of all of this. And I think that is truly what he's going to be missing, as Harstem just doesn't really have the numbers. I mean, these Ravagers can do very well against the Immortals. The barrier comes back online, though, and he's still got probes to help with some damage output. Loses one Immortal, but took a while longer. And now the other Immortal, healthier than expected at this stage. Although now we'll get fully surrounded and taken down quickly. So it looks as though Reynor might have just done what he needed to.
Yeah, all these units are getting battered and bruised now, and I mean, even with Adept Immortal, it's not exactly what you want. And Reynor's got +1 melee as well, so these Lings doing extra damage. And I tell you what, Harstem, he got away with it one time here against the aggression of Reynor, but this time, just the amount of eco behind it as well, it's big, and Reynor made a lot of good calls this game.
Yep. No, he really did. I think he found the defense. I mean, the defense initially was great, right? He really lost very minimum amounts initially. And on the back of that, really has been able to just, again, justify the idea of this attack. And Dark Shrine on the way, by the way, is a very cool way to actually maybe win this for Harstem. It is an out because there's no detection available for Reynor. No mobile detection at the very least. So if you can get DTs up, then great. Can you survive that long? Probably not, but I like the idea because it's desperation times. You got to start making some bigger plays, and that is definitely a bigger play.
Oh, a bit of a surround here on these units, and that's an Immortal taking a chunk of Biles. Both the Immortals falling. Lots of Roaches on the front lining. It's nothing but Adepts, and GHG. Reynor 2-1.
Reynor 2-1. He is going to get it done, and he will get the victory and move through to the playoffs. So Reynor is into the next stage of the competition.